Yeah, good morning, guys. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. So there is a previous request. This is right. So we have seen how to pass the test data, right? We have seen different types of sharing modes. When you select all threads and how does it differ? Now, what are the other types of parameterizations you can pass? Um, there are different types. If I want to pass only user credentials, like username, password, then you have a, and I don't want to use any uh, Excel sheet. So there's not much data, just like 4 5 records of data I want to pass, and that is mainly for user credentials. So and you are not willing to use the CSV file, instead of putting Excel sheet. I Is there another way if I are passing any less quantity of data? That is also you can do it. For example, say here, enable this. You want to pass user credentials like username, password, something like this. Here I want to pass the username password as a test data, right? Then we can use, there is something called, so under pre-processors, you have something called user parameters. Okay, this one. You can use this user parameter if I want to pass only login credentials. That too, I'm not using much quantity. If you are using large quantity, 200, 300 records, as I explained, then you can use this CSV data set and you can pass this data. Okay. If I want to thousands and hundreds of record, you can pass this. But I have only running with only username password I want to pass, that to 5 records or maybe 1 2 records of data. Then for that purpose, I don't want to use this Excel sheet. So is there any other way? Yes. For that only you can use CSV dataset config. Okay. Sorry, user parameters. In this, you can create some variables. So it is all part of what config element. So this is config. Sorry, this is preprocessor. Remember, not config. User parameters are part of preprocessor. So that means before executing your request, this will be executed. Preprocessor means. Now here I'll add some variables. You can add a variable name user underscore ID and another variable called password. Okay. Now here I can pass the user ID uh, names. Okay, I can give any names. Your user ID name, like user 123. Password is pass 123. Let us assume. Okay, this is the user ID password I want to pass in my script. So this is the variable names. So I'll just use these variable names wherever I am passing. For example, here I am passing. Correct. So this, in place of this username password, so when I run, I want to pass that username password. This is a user ID, this is a user ID. Same like how you are passing your these details, credential, the same way we'll pass it here. In place of user name, I'll put dollar within flower brackets, put user ID, dollar within flower bracket, put your password, variable name. Okay. When I run this, you should see that username password will be passing. Let me run this. I'm putting in a dummy variable. Now you can see in the request it is passing the username password. Say if I want to run this with 5 users and each user should have different username password, right? That is also you can do it here. I can create multiple users here. You can say add user, second user, third user, fourth user, 5 user. Like if you have like that, you can create up to n number. But normally, if you have less number of user you want to test, it is the best thing is you can use this user parameters. So here I want a user to, I want to pass some other uh, name, like you can give any name. So password, you want to pass something else. So here for third user, you can give different name, right? Normally password, some kind of user credentials in your application here. You pass different user credentials, right? If I want to test with 5 users, each user will have different username and password. Now you can give any names. Right. So 5 users. I want to just test this with 5 users. Each user will have different credentials, right? Now, so here you need to check update once per iteration. Each iteration it will take one value. Now, here what I'll do, I'll use with the number of threads 5 users. So 5 user, each user. Now, when I run this, each user, so the same thing I want to put here. Thread number, and if I put this function thread number and user, you'll get the user, which user is using which one. So now when I run this, user 1, iteration 1, user 2, iteration 1, user 3, user 3, user 4, user 5. So it depends like which user comes in first, which user comes in next. So user 1, user 1, 2, 3 pass. User 2, Kishore per test, we can see. User 2 should be Kishore. User 3 should be Ramu. That is what we are passing. user 5 Prashant. So if I have limited data, then user win, even if I run for multiple iteration, right? User win will take only this data. Here if I put 5 users in 5 iterations. Let me clear this. Five into 5, 25 times will come. So if you see user 1 and the user 1 for second iteration, same data it should pass, right? It should not take some other user's credentials. Yes, Moses.
What if your application has about 30 fields? Is it advisable to use this approach as well?
Yeah, multiple users, right? You're saying?
No, multiple fields.
Yeah, much more than you'll go with the CSV dataset.
Okay.
This is only at the time of testing. You have limited data and you don't want to use CSV. The ultimate goal is in the real-time execution, you'll use CSV only. Like in real time, you will not test with 4, 5, 10 users, right? I mean, you will put hundreds of users of load. Each user you want to give different credentials. Then you'll go with the CSV dataset one. Here, I'm running with limited number of users, and each user has unique user ID password. And for script enhancements, I can use this user parameters. And this exactly how it works. Each user, so when I given user 1, even if it takes multiple iteration, user 1 should take only this data only. User 2 should take only this data. Okay, now you can see here. User 1 always takes user 1, 2, 3, password 1, 2, 3. User 1.
I guess my question is, let's say your application has about 30 fields. Should you declare 30 variables? Like, is this approach, is it good to use this approach or just use a CSV file?
CSV file is the best approach.
Okay.
Okay. So see, if your real-time application, you'll be passing different types of test data. Along with that, you will also add your credentials also. So always it is the best approach to go with the CSV dataset config. This
Okay.
is the another options they have available that we are exploring for interview purpose.
Okay. Got
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So user 2, if you see Kishore, user 2, Kishore only it will pass. Even for it is 4th or 5th iteration. User 3, passing different data. Ramu, right? So we have limited data. You can use this and we can uh, pass it as a test data for parameterization. Okay. So this is only one value you can pass. Okay. So user 1, one value. For multiple rows, ultimately you need to go with CSV only. Here, user 1 need to pass some other data like CSV. How we are passing? First, user 1 will pick this data, right? Name, like name, it can pick this one. User 1 can pick multiple names, right? But here, user 1 should pick only one user ID only. Right. Mostly this is used for login credentials only. This is used, user parameters. Now, apart from this, what all the other things we can pass? So there is something called under config element, user defined variable. Okay. This is also kind of a passing the data, but only one value, just like user parameters. This is meant for user credentials. Now I want to create some variable like, here city. So some city, I want to do the parameter, but every time it can be only static city, right? So that here I can use that, create a variable for city here and value. Oh, let's say from underscore city, and I'll add another one, to underscore city. Here I'll say Paris, London. So throughout the script, I just want to pass only these two values, right? For that, I don't need to use the Excel sheet, right? When I have only one value, I need to pass for city, from city, and to city. And I don't want to use a CSV. So then you can use this user defined variables. Like you create a variable, for that you just assign a value. This you can pass in your script, like here in your script. Somewhere you are searching for cities, right? Here, Paris, London, right? So in this place, I want to use this, so from city as a variable. But this is only for one value, like right? Now if I run this, run my iterations. Find flights, here you can see it is passing whatever, just like Paris and London, whatever you have given, that thing it is passing here. User defined variable, it is just like no, it is also works as a parameterization, but only single value. Just like create a variable, assign some value, that value we are passing. Where we will use in real time, but I will show when we do this advanced level scripting. But this is just like creating one variable and assigning some value to it. So all the iterations, it will pass the same value. This static one, if there is no dynamically changing, only one city you want to do it throughout the city, I mean throughout the script, then you can use this. So these are all called user defined variables. Like you can create any user defined variable and you can pass it on to your script. Right? So in real time, normally you'll use this like if there are some kind of data that is static you want to pass, maybe that is keep on changing for every release. So the entire release you pass one value. Next release you change the value, just like you can change it and you can pass it here. So that's the use of user defined variables, and user parameter is for test data. Coming back to our actual CSV dataset config, here you observe we have different types of sharing modes, right? So here, when you are passing the data based on the sharing mode, you're passing the test data. But here, it looks like it is passing almost like sequentially, like in a serial order. What if I want to pass a random records? Like here we have a test data. Here I want to pass the random record. It is passing like in a serial order, right? Not, I want to pick the random record. So that is quite possible. In real time, we don't know, right? Which record will be passed first, which record will be next. So randomly, I want to pass the test data. So this CSV dataset config is not, work 100% for random. It will work for unique or sequential. It is working, but I want to pass a random record. This will not work. For that, actually they have another plugin. Okay, so that you need to install. That is under config element only. This is a standard CSV dataset config for passing standard test data. Now I want to pass random records. Then there is something called random CSV dataset config. This one. Yes, yeah. You need to add this plugin into your Jmeter. Already I have shared this set of plugins. So you need to check random CSV. So this one, the process is same. Just you browse and select your test data. This one. Test data.csv. Yeah. Okay. Here almost same, like delimiter. This one variable names. You just leave empty. It will take from the column names. Now, if I select this random order, it will select record will be selected randomly. If I put this, or if I uncheck, it will work as same your CSV data set. Rewind at the end of the list, same like recycle at the end of the first line is header. So automatically it will take this as a header. Okay. When I say this, first line is what? That is a column name, right? So test. Now you can see. First line is automatically taken as a header. Name on count. We did not define anything. So here I'll comment this. Simply you use this. You can test which record it is picking. So first one is name. Francis Young. It is not going in an order. You can see. Mary Brian. So every time it will pick the random testing purpose. They have given this. Now I want to pass this. You can pass. Since the same sheet I have selected, I don't need to change anything here. The values would be the same, name, address. See? Name would be, yeah, this is the name. That is what we are passing, right? Yeah. Now let me run this. Now you'll see everything will be passed randomly. This dummy right now. Here, right? We're passing. You can see first one it is big. Martha, Washington. Address Margee, city Margee. Martha, Washington. That should be somewhere. This data. This is data we are passing. But it's not going in an order. So, but it will pick the yes, Martha, Washington. Out of 200, it is picking any. Yeah. Yeah, this one. You can see this record. City, everything is passing correct value only. 19132 is the zip code. Cross check. Zip code 19132. So in the script, it is passing the correct data only, but randomly it is picking the record. This is what in real time you want to pass the test data, not in a serial order, right? We don't know which customer will come first and which customer will come next. So it is always better to go with the random order. So next is for second iteration, you can see. Harold Nelson. It will be somewhere. So out of 200, it is picking randomly. Yeah, this one not two record. You see? Michigan, Alma 97453 is the this one. What do you call it? Zip code. Yeah, 97454. American Express credit card number is this one. 111. Year is 2006. Name on card is Harold Nelson. We cross check with name of card. Yeah. So it is passing the correct data on that. So this is for randomizing the test data. Randomly you're passing the test data. Say we have some other kind of test data, just like question is ending.